Today we're looking at the book of Micah, one of the minor prophets. Once again, this is one right before Isaiah. One thing I've noticed about Joel and Amos and even Micah is the fact, and even Jonah a little bit, that they touch on the things that later prophets will say, but the other prophets get more weight because they're bigger. For some reason, and there seems to be an important. Isaiah has a lot to say, and he will talk about Messiah. Jeremiah has a lot to say. Of course, he's talking about the fall of Jerusalem. He makes strong cases in there. This is almost all a case for the prosecution. These are of why God is moving the way he is with Israel and with the surrounding nations. And you see that all of these are, again, if this were a trial, this is the prosecution. I'm coming after these people, and here's why. And he lines that up. In Joel, he talks about, again, what he's doing against, and then he will move for. Amos is even more about the nations that he's going against, using poetic form. And then also the little bit snippet at the end is that I will redeem this. I will bring it back. And so that's the good news. But he's doing this because of his sense of justice and how they have sinned against him. Sinning against him brings his wrath, but also brings his justice about himself. You know, it's like letting a murderer go free, or letting a thief go free, or a rapist. There has to be an accounting, and either you seek mercy by admitting you were this, please have mercy upon me, or you face the consequences. And for us, Christ has paid the penalty. Therefore, all we have to do is abide in that. But if not, we will pay the penalty. In Micah, the word of the Lord came to Micah in the days of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. Now, if you remember, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah were right there in the middle, right before you get to the more puppet kings. Hezekiah was the last good king, and he spoke. That was when Rabshakeh came and tried to take over, and God sent them away. Assyria, the northern kingdom fell to Assyria in the days of Hezekiah. So Micah is both to the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Because he goes, "Hear, O ye people, hearken, O earth, and witness, and let the Lord God be witness against you." Once again, I spoke before, this is more of a legal treatise. "For behold, the Lord cometh forth out of his high places, and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth. And the mountains shall be molten under him." We've heard before that he will come and split mountains. He will come with fury and with fire. He will come. "For the transgression of Jacob is all in this, and the sins of the house of Israel. What is the transgression of Jacob? Is it not Samaria? And what are the high places of Judah? Are they not Jerusalem?" He's calling down the high places in Jerusalem and in Samaria, both the capitals of the southern kingdom and the high places of the northern kingdom. "And therefore I will make Samaria as a heap in the field, and a planting of a vineyard, and I will pour down the stones thereof into the valley, and discover the foundations." He's going to scoop down. If you think of one of those earth-moving scoops that goes in and rips through, he's going to rip through. "And he gets out all their graven images, therefore shall be beaten to pieces, and all hires, therefore shall be burnt with the fire, and all the idols I will lay desolate. Therefore I will wail and howl," and this is the I, is Micah, speaking to himself. "Therefore I will wail and howl. I will go stripped and naked. I will go wailing like dragons, and mourning as the owls. For her wound is incurable." The wound of Israel is incurable. There is no cure anymore for this. And we saw that after Hezekiah came Manasseh, Amnon, and then all the puppet kings, and there was no turning back. "And declare it not at Gath, weep not at all in the house of Aspah. Pass ye away, all ye inhabitants of Saphar, having my shame naked. The inhabitants of Zarephath, come not forth in the morning of Bezalel. He will receive of you his standing. For the inhabitants of Morah waited carefully for the good, but evil came down from the Lord unto the gate of Jerusalem." All these groups that wanted to participate, wanted to go to Jerusalem, wanted to work with Jerusalem, wanted economy, but also the culture and also the participation into the sin, will find that there will be nothing there for them. For he says here, make you bald, and pull thee of thy delicate children, enlarge thy baldness as the eagle, for they have gone into captivity from thee. When these groups come to worship or to trade or to participate in the sins of these nations, they will be mourning, they will be pulling their head, they will be in the dust and weeping, because it is no more. The place where they went to get all of this, these capitals of sin, these connections, they're not going to be there. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil in their beds when the morning is light. For they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. They oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore saith the Lord, behold, against the people do I devise evil, from which you shall not remove your necks, neither will you go hauntily, for this time is evil. You won't remove your necks. I'm coming at you. That seems to be what Micah is saying. For the day will come when one takes up a parable against you, where saying, we be utterly spoiled. He has changed the portion of my people. How he hath removed it from me. Turning away, he has divided my field. Therefore thou shalt have none that shall cast a cord by lot in the congregation of the Lord. There is none in the congregation of the Lord there by which you can cast lot, to make judgment with or make judgment upon. Nobody of the congregation of the Lord will be there. Prophesy ye not, say they to them that prophesy. Ye shall not prophesy to them, that they shall not take shame. They're not going to take shame. Don't worry, but don't even bother prophesying. They're not ashamed of what they're doing. They're not ashamed of how they're living. So you might as well not prophesy. This is a God who's really at the end. And I remember later on at Isaiah, if I remember correctly, where he goes, what more could I have done for my vineyard? Again, this is the thought of Micah that will also make its way into Isaiah. I don't know if Isaiah read Micah, but the same God is having the same feelings and sharing them through these prophets. He says, it talks about the women of my people have you cast out from their pleasant homes, from their children you have taken away my glory. Arise and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink, he shall be as the prophets of this people. If you've got someone who's foolishly prophesying through wine and drink, thinking about someone who's drunken, who's prophesying, that's the same prophets that you have now. That's what he's saying. You might as well have one that's drunken with drink, because they wouldn't be any more correct than the ones you have now. I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of thee. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will put them together as the sheep, and in the midst of the flock they shall make a great noise. The breakers come before them. They shall be broken up and pass through the gate. He's going to take them like sheep. Take them out. You will go out of Samaria. You will go out of Jerusalem. I'm taking you out like sheep that go through a gate, and I'm taking you out. And I said, hear, I pray, O houses of Jacob, and ye princes of the house of Israel. It is not for you to know judgment, you who hate good and love the evil, who pluck off the skin off of them and their flesh from off their bones, who eat the flesh of my people and flay the skin upon them. This is very gross imagery here. We're not talking about cannibalism so much as we're talking about how they're destroying the people, how they're destroying the people with their laws and destroying the people with their violence. And here they're destroying the people. Then they shall cry unto the Lord, but he will not hear them. He will hide his face from them, as they have behaved themselves ill in their doing. One day they will look for him, and he won't be found. For thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets, which made my people err. Stop and look. The prophets that made the people err, the prophets that led the people astray by telling them what they wanted to hear and the way they wanted to hear it. It's these prophets. Concerning the prophets that my people to err, that bite with their teeth and cry peace, and he that putteth not into their mouths, they shall even prepare war against them. Therefore night shall be upon you, and you shall not see a vision. It shall be dark, and you shall not divine. The sun shall go down over the prophets, and the day shall be dark unto them. He's not speaking through prophets anymore. One thing I've been noticing as reading the prophets is, like I said, except for maybe one or two, all of them have stern warnings. All of them have hard things to say. Now, I know they do turn it, and there is some good, but vast majority of what you hear is negative. You don't need prophets if you're obeying God. Here, I've noticed in the 21st century, we think prophets in the church are good, and we've got whole denominations that have prophets telling them things, and I will prophesy in the name of the Lord. But they always say good things. I would be very afraid to prophesy in the name of the Lord. I will speculate and look at things. It could be wrong, but I'd be very careful not to prophesy unless you're sure that that's what the word is saying. But here we've got these prophets. And seers shall be ashamed, and diviners confounded, for there is no answer of God. For truly I am full of power by the Spirit of the Lord, and of judgment and of might, to declare unto Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. This is Micah talking. He is full of spirit. He is full of power. He is being a prophet, telling them their sin. Hear this, I pray thee, on the heads of the house of Jacob and princes of the house of Israel. You need to abhor judgment, you that abhor judgment and pervert equity. You build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. I'm reading too fast. I do that sometimes. They build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. The heads therefore judge for reward, and the priests teach for hire, and the prophets divine for money. Yet the prophets divine for money, yet will they lean upon the Lord and say, is not the Lord among us? None evil shall come upon us. That's what they're saying. They're saying, well, the Lord is with us. No evil will come upon us. The Lord is with us. And he's like, no, I'm not with you. Therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field. He's going to plow them like a field. This gets very negative from 1 through 3. But I will give Micah credit, because 4 through 7 is nothing but upbeat. I'm going to do 4 now, but 5, 6, and 7 I'll do tomorrow, but we're going upbeat here. It's like, then he pulls up. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established at the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow into it. One day, I'm going to take this, and it says in the last days. That's coming up. Now he's jumped from the past to way in the last days. That people will come to this mountain, to the mountain of the Lord, and be established in the top of all the mountains. And the mountains there is all the kingdoms with mountains. This will be the greatest mountain. And many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways. Now notice that. He will teach us his ways. And we will walk in his paths, for the law shall come forth out of Zion, and the word of God from Jerusalem. Jerusalem, that's where it's going to come from. He shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. He's going to have rebuke for the ones that are across the sea. Southern America, Northern America, up into Russia, down into Australia, wherever there's a nation, he will rebuke them. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. He will be the Prince of Peace. They shall sit every man under his tree, and under his own vine, and none shall make him afraid. Imagine living in your own place where you had your own little spot. Everybody had their own little spot. This isn't socialism. But you weren't taking from anybody, and no one was taking from you. They respected your gift of that spot, and they have theirs. That's what the Lord will do. And the people shall walk everyone in the name of his God, and he shall walk in the name of the Lord. That one's a little tricky one, because the Lord will become everybody's God. It's not that all the gods of the earth are God. It's like the Lord will now be the God. Every man will have a God, and it will be Yahweh. So yeah, it'll be, my neighbor will have a God, and it'll be Yahweh. I'll have a God, and it'll be Yahweh, which is Jesus. So the people shall walk in the name of his God, but his God will be Yahweh. He will not be walking in a foreign god's And in that day I will assemble her that halteth, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that is afflicted. I will make her that halted a remnant, and her that was cast off a strong nation. I will take the weak, and I will make them strong. Now, O Tyre of the flock, and the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall I come, even the first dominion. The kingdom shall come of the daughter of Zion. So he's talking about, again, he's going to build this up. He talks about it's like birth pangs. Again, we hear that a lot. Jesus talked about in the end days it would be like birth pangs. Well, what are we seeing? But here, the birth of Zion, the birth of this will be like birth pangs. And why dost thou cry out? Is there no king in thee? Is their counselor perished? For pangs have taken thee as a woman in travail. But in pain and labor bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For thou shalt go forth out of the city, and shalt dwell in the fields. And thou shalt go even to Babylon. He's talking about how you will go out to Babylon. But you will come back. And you will go out, and you will come back. Now also many nations have gathered against thee, saying, Let her be defiled, and let our eye be upon Zion. But they know not the thoughts of the Lord, neither understand they his counsel. Now he's brought this back to what's going on today, or what's going on in the time to come. That people will be speaking ill of Jerusalem, but not forever. But they know not the thoughts of the Lord. So these people that think that something's happening to Jerusalem because of God sending her out, they think that's it. It's not it. So here we have this, Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make thine horn iron, I will make thy hoofs brass, and thou shalt beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain upon the Lord, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. So the idea here is you might look weak. Later on, you're going to be so strong that you will be having a horn, your leadership will be like iron, and your feet will be like brass, and you will beat into pieces people. Don't come against you. This is the Israel of the future. This is the Israel that has been redeemed by God. This is the Israel of strength by Jehovah. So tomorrow, finish up 5, 6, and 7. But we see that, again, this prophet has gone from what's happening and what's happening with Israel, and now we're turning it up to the good. There will be good come from this. We will have God reconciling himself with Israel in the last days, and we even see that when he says Jerusalem coming down. That's not the church. It's not the church coming down. It is actual Zion coming down to meet Jerusalem. And we will howl and scream for joy, those of us that are in the church, for what happens with the reunion of Jehovah and his people. We think this is about us because we got saved. It's not about us. It's about a reunion of God and his people. That is the focal point. We can't forget that. It's not about us. It's about God and his wayward bride who will be redeemed. Not just us getting redeemed from our sins, but the wayward bride will be redeemed. The wayward wife will be redeemed. Thank you.